Hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this technical webinar session. I'm Subhashni, one of the product managers here at Syncfusion. I have been working with web technologies and have created tutorial videos for our Syncfusion products. Without any further delay, let's move on to the today's agenda. First, we will see how to create an employee directory using the Syncfusion multi-column ComboBox. Later on, we will explore the new features included in Blazor and essential JS2 components for the second volume of 2024 release. Before we start with the React multi-column combo box, let's check out this demo. Here, the multi-column combo box pop-up displays the employee information with images, customized headers, and items. To get started, we will first create a React app. Make sure your machine has the latest Node version and React versions installed. My setup is ready, so let me open the Visual Studio Code. First, I open the terminal and here I will type the command npx create React app command to create our React app. I name my project as React example. You can use your own names, and I'm planning to use the TypeScript, so I will include the appropriate command. So you can skip this step if you're not using the TypeScript. This may take few seconds. So let's wait for it. Alright, it's done. Now I will clear the screen first. Sorry, terminal. And move on to the newly created React tab. Okay. Next, I need to install the Syncfusion React multi-column combo box. But before proceeding with it, let me check whether my application is running properly. So I will type the command compilation started and it's done too. the React app is working properly. Next, let's move forward to install the Syncfusion React MultiColumn ComboBox. I navigate to the terminal again. So let me type the command npm install at Syncfusion slash ej2 React MultiColumn ComboBox hyphen save. Okay, let me check the command once again and I will hit the button. The package is installing. Okay, the package has been installed successfully. Now let's move on to initialize the multi-column combo box in this React application. So as a first step, I will minimize this terminal and open the app.tsx file. And here I will remove the default quotes. Then I will import the React multi-column combo box component. Once the importing is done, next I need to initialize the component. But before proceeding with it, I will add a new division element with custom height, width, and margin styles. Then I will define the multi-column combo box component and bind the data source. Here, I'm planning to create an employee directory. So I will create a new file called employee. Within it, I will populate with the 12 fields of employee details. To make this step easier, I have already created this employee details data. So I have just copy pasted it here. And now I will import this data source here. Then I will assign this profile data to the data source property of the component. Usually we will map the data source fields to the component. So I will create a new variable called fields. I'm going to map the first two fields to the component. So within this object, I will assign name field to the text property and employee ID to the value property. Now I will assign these fields to the fields property of the component. As you all know, we are creating the employee directory. So I will set the placeholder property value as select an employee. Next, we are going to bind the columns to the component. You can see here, this data source contains many fields, but I'm going to bind these fields to the component. So we will first add the columns directive. Which can hold n number of column directives. Here I'm going to bind 8 fields. So Let me add 8 column directives. I have defined 8 column directive tags. It's showing error because I need to import it from the Syncfusion React MultiColumn ComboBox package to use in the application. Here I'm going to map each fields in the data source. So I add field property and map the data source fields to it. Okay, we have mapped all these data source fields. Next, I'm going to set custom width for each columns. So I will set the width property with appropriate values. Okay, we have set the width for each columns. Along with this, I'm going to display each column with custom headers. So let me add the header property. I will set the second column header as name, third column header as email ID, and next one as designation. Another one as experience. Joining date, location, contact. Okay, we have set all the basic properties to the component. Now I will proceed to add the CSS style reference. So let me navigate to app.css file and remove the default styles. Then import the required styles for multi-column combo box. I have copied the styles from the Syncfusion documentation page. So if you want to know more about this, you can visit our documentation page. Okay, now I will reload this page. See here, the component is rendered successfully, but you are getting the warning error at top. This is due to the license validation. Okay, I will click the pop-up now. The component also shows a short description as select an employee. You can view the defined columns using the scroll bar. To accommodate more columns, I need to adjust the pop-up height and width. So I will set the pop-up height and width to the component. See here, the page is reloaded successfully. Now, observe the output page with the pop-up displaying at custom dimensions. Next, let's customize this component to duplicate this design. As a first step, display column headers in bold. So, I navigate to the app and here I will add header template. I'm going to customize each columns with custom headers. So let me copy this property and paste to all column directive tags. Then I will add division and span elements with custom class header. Next, I will copy this header value and paste in between the spam element. Now, I will follow the same steps for rest of the column headers, but I will change the header value alone. Here, I have added the header values inside the header template, so it is not necessary to be added for the header property in the component. So I will remove that property from all the column directives. Okay, it is completed. So next I'm going to add font weight for this header class. Before that, I need to update the CSS class for this component. So I will add the CSS class property and set the value as multi-column. Now I will move on to the app.css file and add the classes multi-column and header. Okay, we have successfully customized the header. Now let's check out the output page. Now observe the custom headers formatted in bold. Next, I will show you how to customize the items in the columns. Now, I'm going to combine these three columns and display it in a single column. Along with this, I'm planning to add one more column in between employee ID and name to show the employee images. So, I open the app.tsx file and retain only 7 columns. So, I remove this column directive from the columns directive tag. Then I will change the headers based on the new template design. For the second column, I'm going to show the images. So I will change the header as photo. Then third column header as employee info. Then to define the design for each column, I will add the template property. Within this template property, I will add the division element with appropriate class names. Except the photo column, I will add division elements with appropriate classes for all other columns. Once it is done, I want to bind the data source fields to the template. So I will assign each field to the appropriate columns. Except the photo column, I will add the data source fields to all other columns. Okay, I have mapped all the fields to the template property. So I will remove the field property from the column directive. Okay, as a final thing, I'm going to add images to the photo column. So I will add the division element first. Within it, I will define the image tag. Here, I'm going to display the employee images. To make this process easier, I have already saved these images in a folder called employee. See here, I have imported the employee folder in the application. Now, I will set the path for image. So, I will use the source attribute. Okay, we have successfully set the path for image. To customize the image dimension, I will add the class called employee image. Based on the new template design, I'm going to change the width of each column. Okay, I will save this changes. I will navigate to the app.css file and I will set custom font size, opacity and custom height and width for the images. Observe the component. The applied styles are shown in the column. Employee name, email ID and designation are shown in a single column, while employee images are displayed in a photo column. That concludes creating an employee directory using the Syncfusion React MultiColumn ComboBox component. If you have any questions about this topic, feel free to ask in the comments below. Now, let's move on to the new topics introduced in Blazor and essential JS2 components by Syncfusion for this Volume 2 release 2024. We have included two new components in the Blazor platform. One is 3D charts and another one is text area. Firstly, our 3D charts component is a powerful data visualization tool that displays data in a three-dimensional manner, revealing relationships and trends among variables. Secondly, let's move on to the text area component. This text area component is designed for displaying multi-line text that supports customization with a floating label, validation states, and a clear icon, making it highly versatile for different applications. Moving on to the data grid component, it now includes an options to add records initially. You can position these records at the top or bottom of the grid. In our diagram component, we have improved the symbol palette, allowing easy symbol search, and it also provides horizontal and vertical rulers for precise measuring, placing, sizing, and aligning shapes and objects. Next comes the Gantt chart updates. We have enhanced the visual experience by highlighting rows when hovering over them. PDF Viewer component now supports custom stamps, allowing personalized stamps in PDF files. In the comments panel, you can add multi-line comments and customize date and time format according to your application preference. The tree view component has been optimized for performance with large datasets. It renders nodes based on the tree view height and swaps them during the scrolling, ensuring a smooth user experience by avoiding off-screen rendering. Additionally, the rich text editor's quick toolbar appears on the text selection, offering easy access to formatting options like bold, italic, underline, and strike through. The next Blazor platform update is about the pivot table. You can now easily sort individual measures and aggregated values in OLAP cube in ascending or descending order. In Blazor and EJ2 platforms, we have included a new OTP component for inputting one-time passwords during multi-factor authentication. Next, the Query Builder component features a separator connector for standalone connectors between the rules and groups within the same group. It also supports drag and drop feature for easy repositioning of rules and groups. And the next update is about dropdowns component. We have added the ability to disable items in dropdown components like dropdown list, combo box, autocomplete, and multi-select dropdown. And the final common update for Blazor and EJ2 platform is in the image editor component, you can now save the images in different file formats and you can move the annotations using the different options like send to back, bring to front and bring forward. Okay, now we'll move on to the EJ2 updates. In EJ2 platform, we have included the new component called MultiColumn ComboBox component, which displays a multi-column in a table-like structure, providing detailed information about each item. We have demonstrated this integration into a React app. Okay. Next, we'll go to the chart component update. We have added animation effects for adding, removing, and updating the chart data points. Along with this, you can also get point information based on the pointer coordinates during the mouse move events, allowing dynamic addition or removal of data points. And the next update is about File Manager component. It supports rendering flat data as an array of JSON objects, eliminating the need for AJAX request and backend URL configuration. For the Gantt chart, the timeline can be customized to display images, buttons, or custom content within cells. Along with this, you can also define different working time ranges for each day of the week to accommodate varying work hours. And the final update of the EJ2 component is Spreadsheet component update. It supports adding, deleting, and editing the cell notes. Apart from that, there is also option to print active worksheet or entire worksheet with the customizable settings. That concludes today's session. Thank you all for your valuable time.